Hello and welcome to this session. In this session we will see how pandas can be used to generate HTML tables using the data frame. So before we start the session, just ensure that you have the HTML5 lib library installed. See, most of the websites nowadays they follow the HTML5 library. So go to your Anaconda prompt, go to your respective directory, and under the your respective directory, just ensure that HTML5 lib is installed. So just type conda install HTML5 lib in the Anaconda prompt. So once this library is successfully installed in your Anaconda prompt, let's go to the Jupyter notebook and let's start by defining a data frame which is very simple. So we will create a very simple data frame, and from this we are going to generate a simple HTML. We are going to convert this data frame into a HTML format. So let's create a new Python script. First, ensure you have pandas and numpy imported to your script. Now, let's first create a simple data frame. Okay, so let's just start with a simple data frame. So just say frame is equal to pd dot data frame. D has to be capital, data frame. And within the brackets, let's just create a simple 2 by 2 data frame. Use the arrange function to do this and give the shape of the array as 2 cross 2. Enter. Now just check. Okay, it's arrange. There is a mistake here. Okay, so now execute your frame. So this is a very simple data frame that I have created. It is just 2 by 2. Now we are going to use a function to_html. So let's just print it as well in the same line. So for the data frame, under this data frame you call the function to_html. Shift enter, and you can see that the data frame has been converted into HTML successfully. So what has happened here is we have used the to_html function to directly convert the data frame into an HTML table. Okay, and you can see here the data frame is automatically converted, and you have all these tags th, tr, td, which is automatically converted. So you can see that this complex, instead of you can automatically convert the data frame into an HTML, which is a very great resource for anyone who needs to develop web pages. So just by simply creating your data frame and calling your to_html function for that data frame, you are automatically able to create your HTML format. Okay, so now let's see another example where I am going to have a little bit of a complex data frame. Okay, so let's try to create a bit of more complex data frame. Let's call it as frame is equal to, let's create a bit let's say complex data frame. Let's call it as frame. Frame is equal to pd dot data frame. So I will be calling a, let's say I'll be creating a 4 cross 4 array, 4, and under that I'm going to say index, just put a comma here, index is equal to, let's give the indexes for this 4 cross 4 array. I'll just give here white, black. Let's say for this 4 cross 4 array I'm giving the indexes some 4 colors, comma red, and let's give the columns as well, column labels in a list. Let's say I just give the directions up, down, then let's say left right. Okay, so now what I have done is I have created a little bit of a more complex data frame. Execute this. Yes, this has to be NP. Okay, this is random. NP dot random. I'm just going to randomly generate. What does this random function do? It will generate random values for your frame. So every time you execute, with different values will be there. So this is what the random function is doing. So what I have done here is I have created a 4x4 NP array, and these are the indexes which I have given, white, black, blue, red, and these are the labels, columns labels which I have given, and these values are generated randomly. Now what is my intention? I want to focus on writing an HTML page. Okay, now in this case what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a HTML page, and I want to save it in my system as well as create a new HTML page. That's the intention. So let's first create a string. Okay, so what we will do is let's create a string. Let's say the name of the string is S, that contains the code of the HTML page. So I'm going to create a string S. So let's say S is the variable for that string which is going to contain the code. Now whenever you have an HTML page, see there is a format. So I'll just show you this part. See, there is a format. Every HTML page will have a format, right? It will start from an HTML tag and it will end with a /HTML tag, and you will have a title, right? You will have the head tag, and then under that you will have the title tag where you can give the title for your page, and then you close your head tag, and then you have the body of your HTML which is enclosed within body tags, right? So this is the body of your HTML, and you can also have h1 tags, you can also have paragraphs with the p tags. So let's create a simple HTML page. So the values for this, I'm going to keep the codes of these HTML page, I'm going to keep it in the string S. So let's say the first tag that I give here is this one, HTML. So just copy this and keep it here. I'm going to keep the tag, right, because it's a string, right? As of now I'm basically having a list of strings here. Okay, so what I've done here now is my string is going to contain this part, the first one. Now shift enter. Now what is S going to just contain? It's just going to contain this, the first part, the first string, that is the HTML. Basically it is the first tag of our HTML page. Now I am going to go on appending these. I want to put all these rest of the things, right, the rest of these things. So let me give the title name as my first HTML page. Let it be the same thing. So I'm going to copy this now and append it to the string S. So how do you append? Just say S dot append, and within the parenthesis you have to give these values. I have to give it in as a string format. Okay, so what are the values I've given? Head, and then you can give it in the same line, title. Let's keep all of these in capital letters to make it more better. Oh, I'm sorry. And also this I'll keep it in capital letters. Now shift enter. So you can see that, okay, it's a small s. So you can see that S is now containing only till here. It has the head HTML tag, it has the head tag, it has the title tag. Now I am going to give and also I needed to give this, right, the closing head tab, which I did not give it. I can give it now here. It's okay, you can give it now. Just append it here again. I want to keep everything in caps. Okay. Oh, it got appended. So what I can do is I'll just restart this. So let's restart, because what has happened is already S had this. Since I executed it again, right, S is actually containing 2 extra lines of HTML. I'll just restart and run everything. So now you can see that S. Okay, so now let it run. See, this is what I want to have. So S is containing this much. Okay, now next what I'm going to do is I am going to put the body tag, right? I want the body tag as well. I could have done it before. I can do it now as well. So I'm going to call again the append function, and now I'm going to give this body tag to the S string. Put it within the single quotes. Okay, and now execute. So if you see S, now you have the H head title as well as a body tag, opening tag of the body. Now within the body I want to give, instead of this I want to give the data frame, right? Within the body here in this part, the body of my HTML is going to contain the data frame. And what's the name of the data frame? It's called as frame, right? So which I want to convert. So what I'm to HTML. So what I'm going to do now is just say s dot append. Now I should start with the body of the HTML page. Within the parenthesis, give the name of the data frame and call the function to_HTML, which we just saw in the previous example, and execute this. Now if you see S, see what is S containing now? These are the tags which I just gave. Okay, and here this is also, now these are the data frame which is converted into the HTML format. Okay, so this is the data frame which has been converted into the HTML format. Now I have to close the HTML page. So how do you close it? You have to close the body. I have to give these two things, close the body tag as well as the HTML tag within the parenthesis. Since I am keeping everything in capital letters, I'll just write body in caps and HTML in caps, and shift enter. Now I should have given here string, because I'm actually S is here string, right? What is S here? S is basically a list of strings. What I have done here is S is just a list of strings. You just see S. It is what? It is just a list of strings. This is one string, this is one string, which are separated by commas. Okay, so now my string with the complete HTML tags are ready, with the body as well. So now what I have to do is, since this is now, S is now in the form of a string, I will be now calling a function called as s.join function. Now why do I call s.join method? Join method is going to concatenate the elements of this list into a single string. Right? What I have here a list of strings. See, this is one string, this is another string, this is another string, which are all separated by commas, and this is from here to here I have one string, and this is another string. As I went on appending it, I just went on appending the strings. Now I want to put all of these strings together into one single string. So how do I do that is, I have to call the join method. So join method, what it does is, I'll just put here the comments. Join method converts list of strings into one single string. Okay, so I have to call now the join function. How do I call it is, you just say s.join. But what's very important here is, let me put all of this into an other variable. Let's call it as HTML is equal to, and very important is, when you're calling this join method, you have to specify the delimiter, because I am joining this strings together. So what is a delimiter? In my case, I will have my delimiter as a space. Okay, so I will be having my delimiter as a space. So how do you do it here is, I'll specify the same like space this way. Just put two opening and closing quotes dot join method. Just call the join method here, and for join method the argument which I'll be passing is s. Okay, so join is a method which converts the list of strings into one single string, okay, with the delimiter specified. The delimiter is basically specifying what is the separation that you want to have between each element. I do not want to have any kind of separation between each of this, right? I don't want to have, I just want to have one single space. Okay, so now when I execute this, and if you try to visualize this HTML, right, it is the same thing as S, but the difference is it has become one single stream. There is no comma in between. Okay, the difference between S and this is it's just one single string. Why we have made it into one single string? So that it is similar to our HTML format. That's the reason we have done. Now what I have to do, I have the contents of my HTML page ready. The contents of my HTML page is now ready. Now what I am going to do is I want to create a HTML file, right? Now I want to create a file. So to create a file, we will be using the function called as open function. Okay, so let's call the open function. When open function, what does it do? It will create a file if it is not already existing. If it is already existing, and if I use the W, that means write argument, that means it's going to append. So let me create a name for our file. Let's say my frame1.html. So this is the name of the file. So that means now I'm going to create a file. If you go to your home page, I don't have any page of that name. Okay, in the home page of your Jupyter notebook, there's no file of that name. So now I'm going to create a file like this called as myframe1.html, comma W, because I want to write into this, and W has to be within single quotes. Okay, now put this into a and this open function is going to return a value. So let's say HTML underscore file. I'll put the name as. Okay, so what I have done now is I am going to create a file, okay, and with the value as write W. So this is the file name that I'm going to create. As of now, I'm just creating a file and just shift enter. So we have just created a file. See, if you just see what is this, it's just going to contain this open function is returning a value which is something like this. Anyway, now what I'm going to write, I have created a file, but there is nothing in this file. I've created a file called as myframe1.html, but there's nothing in it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write into this file. So how do you write into this file? You just have to say HTML underscore file dot write. Now what am I going into this write into this file, right? I am going to write this values, right? HTML. What is this? HTML is going to contain the complete HTML file, right? The contents of the HTML file, which is in a form of a single string. So I'm going to write this into my file. Shift enter. Okay, and now I want to, after very important is whenever you are doing any operations with an external file, you create a file using open command, you write into the file using the write command, and very important is you have to close the file always. You should never forget that. So just how do you do that is just put here close. Just call the close function. Okay, so it's very important that you close your file. Shift enter. So now let's go into the home page and let's see whether a file with this name has been created, myframe1.html. So come to the home page and check if there is a file with this name. Yes. See, there is a file which is created here with the name. Seconds ago it was created. Let's just click on this and view. See, this is the content, right? This is the content of our HTML page. We gave this content. We gave the title as my first HTML page, right? And these are the random values which was there in our data frame, and these are the indexes: white, black, red, right? And this is a complete HTML page. So this is an example of how you can convert your data frame into and create your HTML page. So try this in your system. So today's class, just quickly revise, we saw how we can just simply create a simple data frame and convert it into an HTML format. We also saw how we can create our first HTML page. So try this in your system. Any problems or any questions, you can please put it in the comment box. Thank you.